There are a lot of ways to use HubSpot and a lot of tools within the CRM. And here with us today, we have one of our HubSpot trainers, Will Smith, to talk us through one of those tools that you can start using today. How's it going, Will?
Going good. How's it going, Austin?
I'm doing great. Even better now that you're here to walk us through one of these features, one of these tools that's within HubSpot. And I'm curious to know, what is it that you like to share with our HubSpot users kind of at the beginning of their journey that's really an overlooked tool?
I think one of the more overlooked tools are views. And HubSpot has put a lot into these views. Out of the box, HubSpot has a lot of default views that you just put up and pin and just make your work that much easier to flow through different scenarios, take a look at different pieces of data. Really, they've invested a lot of time, and a lot of folks that I work with, I've noticed that they're just not using views. They instead just automatically create lists. And so lists are great, but generally with the HubSpotters that I work with, I tell them, let's not create a list until we're ready to do something with those people. So views give you the advantage of a list. However, they are easily created. They're actually faster to pull the data than a list. You can create as many as you want. And the reason why I'm so high on these is because segmentation is so important. You have a limited, depending upon your HubSpot subscription, you have a limited number of lists that you can create. So if you're not doing anything with those lists, let's not create them. Let's create these different views, put them in our standard view so that we can have all these tabs that we can go through. We can compare data, we can flip back and forth. And then when you're ready to do something with these segmented contacts, rarely do you have to send something out, for example, a marketing email to every single person in your HubSpot portal. You really want to segment your contacts or segment your companies, whether you're B2C or B2B. You really want to segment those people so that they feel like they're getting that tailored experience, so that you are delivering to them that experience that says, hey, I know what you're interested in. I know how to help you. I know how to solve this problem. So segmentation really helps you with that.
So what you're saying with these views is that you can quickly kind of make segments of people, and maybe it's not something you're really ready to create reports for. You just need some quick information. And so that's where it's helpful to kind of have these views rather than going through the process of creating a whole list that later you might not even need.
Absolutely. You nailed it, Austin. And I'm really glad that you brought up reporting. Another advantage to these views is, before you spend the time creating maybe a custom report, before you spend the time of digging into reports and creating something that's a little more permanent, I like to use views to kind of double check and make sure, if I were to compile this data, am I going to have valuable data? Is there going to be any data there? For example, if you don't have a bunch of people with a zip code or a postal code, and you wanted to create a report on a specific area, if you don't have the data, then your report's not going to look that great. And to that end, once you do create that report, you can use your view to kind of double check and make sure that you are correct, that you're doing everything right. It's a nice check and balance system.
That makes sense. And, you can sometimes put a lot of energy into making these reports, so you want to make sure they're accurate and you're not wasting your time doing this whole thing that isn't even useful or didn't work.
Absolutely. And the worst question when you hand in a report is to the person you hand the report, when they ask you, what am I looking at here?
Mm-hmm.
A view can help you answer that question as you're building that report.
Awesome. Would you mind kind of taking us through what that looks like inside HubSpot?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take you to an impact test portal. So not a lot of great data there, but at least we'll be able to take a look at what things look like and what the process is. And I encourage anyone that's watching this segment here, make sure that you give it a try in your HubSpot portal. So what we're looking at here is, this is our list of contacts. So this is everything. You can see here, this tab right here is showing us all contacts. So we have about 577 records. Now, right here is where you can add a different view or a new view. And you can see we have 1 out of 50. Now, you might need a pretty big monitor to actually be able to see what each one of those tabs is going to say when you have 50 tabs open, but 50 are available. That's pretty nice. So if I click in here and I take a look at all views, we'll be able to see which views have been created. You'll notice that some folks have made their view private to just them. Another advantage to these views is that you can just take a look at the and just say, you know what, I'm going to keep this to myself. Now, one of the benefits of HubSpot, of course, is visibility. So while this is nice, sometimes being able to share a view with other people is going to be pretty advantageous in many situations. What I like, now this is what I was referring to before, is HubSpot has all these standard views. So let's just take a look at it. This is right out of the box. So even if you don't know anything about creating your own view, which I'll walk you through in a second, this is a great place to get started. So let's take a look at our contacts. These are pretty default standard things that people are going to want to know. So for example, who are the contacts that I just haven't contacted in a while? Can I see the contacts that only belong to me? So instead of looking at 577 records, we're looking at all the people in your HubSpot portal. To help you work better, to be more efficient, you can just say, just want to look at the people that belong to me. You can also take a look at who has no owner in your HubSpot portal. So you can see here, now we have some, we're on an enterprise subscription here at Impact, even this test portal. So there's a lot of things that are in here, but most people are going to be able to see companies, contacts, and deals just right out of the box. So let's take a look and let's just add in the marketing contacts here. So if I just click on this, it's going to add it to my view, and you'll notice, first of all, no contacts match that current. Again, it's a test portal. So, but you'll notice that marketing contacts is up here, and it's different. It's right next to the tab of all my contacts here. And so we see that the filter is on here. So it's a way to save these different views. I can add a few more. You can see here's a quick way to add these views. Let's add my contacts. And we can go from there. And let's add another one. Let's add my uncontacted, things like that. So you can see I'm building up these 4 tabs that I can just flip between and be very efficient with my work. So if you're segmenting, a great use case for this is if you're segmenting product A versus product B, you can easily just flip between these two and see consistencies, inconsistencies. What are some of the patterns that I'm noticing in these contacts?
Gotcha. And I see how that's really quick and really helpful just to have on hand that you can flip between super quickly.
Absolutely. If I were to create a list, I'd have to go into the list making tool. I'd have to decide on, do I need to create this and this with that? It's a higher level of creation. Certainly, it's very useful when you're ready to do something with these contacts. So if I were to take marketing contacts, I don't have any, this would tell me, hey, you know what? I cannot send anybody a marketing email because I don't have any marketing contacts in here. So great way to check your data in this case.
Awesome. And you said something about building your own view as well. Could you walk us through that?
Absolutely. Let's create our own segmented view that we're going to put together.
How does your sales and marketing measure up? By taking our free online assessment, you can learn what you need to do to boost leads, traffic, and sales. It takes less than 5 minutes and can be found on our website at impactplus.com/scorecard. We'll put the link in the description below.
One of the things that I like about these particular views of the way HubSpot is set up, and it's especially if you are just getting started with HubSpot, maybe your organization is coming off of just working on spreadsheets. This has a very spreadsheet kind of look and feel to it. But a lot of times people ask me, how do I change what these columns at the top here say? And one of the things that I recommend is when you want to get a high-level overview. For example, before I dive into a client's portal, maybe for cleanup, or before I have a coaching call with a client, I just want to see how things are doing. Just want to see, make sure that everything's going in the right place, coming in the right place. I create what I call the original source view. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to create this original source view. So if I come over to add a view, I can now create a new view. So let's do that together. We're going to call this the original source view. I'm going to share it with everyone because I'm nice like that. And so here's the original source view. But what we want to do is we want to change these. And you'll notice that it is all 577 records, but we want to change these columns up here. So if I come over to edit columns, I can now choose what data is going to be most important to me. So rather than going through all of these things, I'm just going to search for original. And you'll notice we have original source drill down 1, and original source drill down 2. Going to select all 3 of these. And I'm going to move all of these to the top. So now my columns are going to look like this. These 3 will be first. Email will be here. Let's apply it and take a look at it. So now this is a test portal. So you'll notice that these original sources are not very exciting.
Yeah.
You'll see that a lot of them are just saying that they're coming from maybe direct traffic or offline sources, things like that, or maybe an import. But what this does is the original source is it tells HubSpot, it's one of those 8 buckets that HubSpot kind of says, this is where your people are coming from, whether it's organic search, whether it's direct traffic, maybe it's another referring website, maybe it's paid search, maybe it's organic search, maybe it's organic social, maybe it's paid social. So from that perspective, original source tells you the larger picture. And then just in its title, you can tell this is original source drill down 1. So we're going to drill down a little bit deeper and find out, where is this coming from? So let's take this one, for example, direct traffic. It's coming from, it looks like a HubSpot form here. So now we know that somebody put into their web browser, directly put in Impact Plus, and they got to this form and they filled it out. Now, we don't have any details, original source 2, but you can see here that sometimes it's an email integration, that we were able to connect with this person and we created this person through the email integration. Or maybe it's an offline source. It came from an integration down here, and you'll notice that it is Zapier. That is the particular integration where it came from. And so I like this view because it tells us where people are coming from, and it drills down into that actual source. Now, if nothing's happening, or if I don't see new contacts being created, I generally check this maybe a few times a week when I'm working with a particular client. If nothing's coming in, then maybe we have a problem. This view allows me to see how the business is doing from a digital marketing perspective. And then if there are any problems or complications or emergencies, I can say, okay, we need to look into this. For example, maybe their website is down, maybe something happened, maybe a particular form isn't working. So this really gives me a broad overview, because when you get into HubSpot, there's so much HubSpot can do. Sometimes people don't know where to start. For me, looking at the original source drill down 1, original source drill down 2, that tells me, okay, if there's a problem, we need to focus in. That's where I'm going to start. Or if there's something that's working really well, other side of the coin here, something's working really well, let's put a little gasoline on that fire. How can we leverage that? Or if there's something that needs to be improved, maybe something's doing okay, or we made a change in the last week or so. How can we improve that to really increase our numbers or move the needle in somehow from a digital marketing perspective? All of that from just one view.
Yeah, that's super cool. And you made that super quickly, and it gives you, like you said, that broad overview that's super helpful and can even get really specific.
Absolutely. You nailed it, Austin.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that trick with us. I'm about to go do that in my HubSpot right now.
It's a lot of fun when you get different original sources, where they come from. Really, you really get to know your the people, your customers, your clients, your people that are in your HubSpot portal that have raised their hand and said, "Hey, I'm interested in this." You get to know their story, especially if they're coming from search or if they're coming from a social media post that just went went crazy. It's really interesting to see where these different where these people are coming from. So that's why I encourage anyone that's watching this, take a look at those different views, but in particular, create that original source view.
Well, thanks, Will. And like you said, it can help with problems and help you also see where you need to put gas on that fire and go next. So thanks for sharing your information and expertise with us here today, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Austin.
So as you can see, views aren't anything mind-blowing or crazy, but they're super simple to use and super helpful in the long run. If you and your business could use some HubSpot coaching or you need some help with your strategy, let us know at impactplus.com today.